It's definitely giving. Oh, it's giving. Hey guys, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Trinity if you are new here, and today we're finally gonna do my long awaited signature soft glam tutorial. This look is universal. This is good for beginners, people who have already been doing makeup for a while, and this look is also good for all year round. Let's get into it. Before I started this video, of course, I cleansed, exfoliated, moisturized. So did all that off camera. I actually also applied my primer in the clip before this, but I didn't like the clip and I don't really want to do it again. So I just used the Milk Hydro Gel primer. I took about 2 pumps of this. You probably don't even need 2, maybe like 1.5. And I just put that all over my face. You want to make sure you get under your eyes and everything. So after your primer, you're going to go in with foundation. This is the Too Faced Born This Way foundation in the shade Chai. I usually start off with 3 pumps on both sides, and this is running out, girl. Oh my god. Then I take my beauty blender, which is dirty, but look, y'all know I'm realistic. I'm not gonna clean this beauty blender every time I do my makeup. I'm just not. I did wet it though, so you definitely want your beauty blender to be damp whenever you use it, and that's whenever you're using powder or liquid products. So I'm just gonna take the bottom of the beauty blender and I'm gonna blend that product out all over my face. You want to make sure you're getting every single part of your face because you don't want to leave anything untouched. That's how you have patchy makeup. So I'm blending it into my baby hairs because I don't want a line of demarcation up there. I want to make sure you get under here so that it doesn't look like you have a mask on. I'm going to go in with another few pumps just in case, especially because I'm on camera and you never know. Next, after my foundation, I'm going to take my... So usually I use the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer, but recently I have been loving the Tarte, I think it's called Maracuja Creaseless Foundation. I just recently realized that I think I like this one better in like the winter time and the fall because it's more creamy. It's not as like matte. The Tarte Shape Tape is matte, girl. I don't really need that in the colder months. So I'm gonna go ahead with my more creamy concealer, and this is in the shade Tan Deep Sand. I'm just gonna apply that under my eyes. Notice that I made like a triangle shape, and I didn't bring it out past the outer corners of my eyes. I didn't bring it past the inner corners of my eyes, and I didn't bring it down past my nose. So it's literally just a triangle, like from my eyes to the bottom of my nose. I like to apply the concealer where I'm going to blend it out. That way I don't have like any, you know, you don't want to just be applying product just to apply it. So if you apply it exactly where you want it and exactly where you're going to blend it out, then you're good. Do the forehead. I'm not interested in making my forehead look huge, so I like to go like a little over my brows, almost to the middle of my brows, and up a little bit. So it's kind of like a semicircle. And then I'm going to fill in between my brows and then bring it down the bridge of my nose. Then we're going to take that same concealer and put a little bit on our chin. So these are all the points of your face where light reflects. And you want to do this because you don't want your face to look flat. If you just wear foundation, your face will be all one color, and nobody's face is all one color. So now we're going to take our beauty blender, which is damp, of course. We're going to use the flat side, the bottom, to blend out the edges first. So I'm blending out the edges. I blended out the edge of my forehead. I'm blending out the edge of the under eye concealer. And then I'm going to blend the edges of the chin. So the reason why you want to use the flat side and do the edges first is because you want to make sure that you blend out those harsh edges before they dry down so that you don't have any lines of demarcation. You want everything to be seamless and flawless and perfectly blended. So you always start with the edges. Also, you want to make sure you're using the bottom because it has the foundation, like leftover foundation on it, and that'll help it to blend better with your foundation for a more seamless transition. Then when you're blending out the inside of your concealer, you want to use the pointed side of your beauty blender. So we're going to do that. Bring it down the bridge of the nose. Make sure you're tapping down the bridge. You don't want to spread that product out more, so literally just tap right where you place the product. Just keep tapping and blending that out. Then we're going to go under our eye and we're just going to tap that as well. I try not to blend too much under the eye as far as like the middle, because I want a lot of coverage there. So you definitely want to blend out those edges really good because you don't want to see any lines. But you want a lot of coverage in this area, so you're going to try not to blend it too much. Make sure you're blending it, but don't do it too much. And again, I flip to the flat side and I'm just blending out any harsh edges that I see. I didn't really have that much product on my chin, so I didn't really have to use that pointed side on that. But if you have more product than I did, you can always go in and do that. Okay, so now that my under eye, well, all my concealer is blended, I'm going to take my Laura Mercier translucent setting powder and I'm going to use that same beauty blender, the pointed side, and I'm literally just going to dab it in here so that I get smooth powder on here, no clumps. When you're doing your under eye powder, tilt your chin down and just press. Tilt your chin down, look up, and press. This is going to help you to prevent creasing. And then take the flat side of the beauty blender and blend out those edges. So I do not bake, as you can see. Baking is when you let the powder just sit for a little bit. I don't do all that. I literally just press the product down. Just keep pressing and pressing and pressing. And then you just want to keep going back and forth between the pointed side and the flat side of your beauty blender, because the more you go in with powder on that pointed side, the more product you're adding to the edges, and you want to make sure that everything is blended out perfectly. So now I'm going to go back to the pointed side and I'm going to blend out the other eye and do the same thing. So I'm getting my powder, tilting my chin down, looking up, and pressing that product in. It just got real quiet. I guess my heat just like turned off, but it's mad quiet and it's real awkward. So yeah, going back and blending out the edges. And now for the forehead, I'm gonna take the flat side, just blend it out again just to make sure I don't have any creasing, because I tend to like do this little scrunch in my forehead and it looks crazy. Shake off the excess and just apply that right where I had the concealer. Do the same thing going down the bridge of the nose and on my chin. So literally everywhere you put the concealer, you're going to be putting powder. So once you apply the product, then you go in with the flat side and blend it out. These are bigger areas, so you can use the flat side to blend out your powder. So going down the bridge of the nose and going back to the chin, we're just blending everything out, pressing that product in. Now for my all over face powder, I'm going to use Maybelline Fit Me in the shade 355. Yeah. Time to get a new one. But it's still some in there, so I'm not pressed. So I'm just going to swirl that around. And I'm going to apply this everywhere that does not have the Laura Mercier powder. When you're doing your all over face powder, you want to use a powder that is the same color as your skin or as your foundation. Like I said, you're applying it to all the areas that do not have, basically all the areas that you didn't apply concealer. So you want to make sure you're doing this because whenever you apply liquid or cream products, you definitely have to set them. Otherwise, they will move all around. So that's why we had to use the Laura Mercier powder as soon as we did the under eye concealer, because you want to set that product in. And now we're basically setting our foundation before we add any more powders on top. I'm going over my eyelids, brushing some product over my eyebrows, going down the sides of my nose because I did not apply concealer there, but I did apply foundation. And now for my smile lines, because my smile lines are crazy, I'm just gonna apply the product there. Then I'm gonna smile. Apply more. Then I'm gonna stop smiling. Apply more. And then I'm gonna smile again. And it's just, you know, back and forth, back and forth. And now I'm gonna take my Fenty Beauty Sunstalker Bronzer in the shade Cocoa Naughty. Okay, for bronzing, you're warming the face up. So this isn't necessarily contouring. I don't contour. It's very rare that I contour. I literally just bronze up the areas of my face, basically like the outer areas. So a key to flawless blended makeup is to layer your product. So y'all know we went like here with the concealer, and then we applied the Laura Mercier powder there, blended out the edges. Now when we're applying our bronzer, we're going to go around the edges of the forehead, but we're also going to make sure we're kind of overlapping that line a little bit. Even though you can't really see the line because we blended it out, y'all know what I mean. Y'all know what I mean. And this is how we ensure that everything is blended. So after you do the forehead, you're going to go from here to about here, carving out those cheekbones. So this is why some people look at bronzing like it's contouring, but it's technically not. You're just warming it up, and you're just carving out that cheekbone. You can go along your jawline, and then I like to kind of go around that area where I put concealer on my chin. And next, to contour my nose with bronzer, I'm going to take this, I think it is an angled nose contour brush. Like, this is specifically for your nose. So I'm going to take that same bronzer, and I'm going to go from my brow, the front of my brow, keeping it very close. I'm literally going right outside the line that I made down my nose with the concealer. So just going to tap right down the sides of my nose, and I'm going to go all the way down to the tip. So when you're doing your nose contour, you want to make sure that you are either bringing it in or literally just going straight down, because if you take the lines out wider, you're going to make your nose look wider than it actually is. And the point of doing this is to have a snatched nose. When we go to the brow, you want to make sure that it's all blended into your eyebrow. You don't want any harsh lines. Okay. Sorry, I gotta wipe this off my lips because I just can't. I usually wait until the end to do that, but I could not. Like, every time I looked into the viewfinder, all I saw was like lips that were the same color as my skin, and I couldn't deal with it. Now that that is done, we're going to move on to the brows. So for brows, I like to use my Morphe micro brow pencil in the shade Java. So for my brows, I literally just follow where the hair is. It's really not that hard. It is not that deep, girl. People make brows so complicated, and it's really not. You literally just fill in where your hair is. All right, so I like to start at the bottom, and I usually start like around here, like where my arch is. So you're just gonna be light, and you're gonna use hair-like strokes. So as you can see, I'm making very small lines and just connecting them. So very small lines and connecting them. I'm not really going to go too far in yet, and you'll see why in a second, but I like to do the front of my brow last. So after you do that area, then you're going to do the same thing on the top. literally where your hair is. You do not have to go outside of that. You don't. You really do not. Don't make this harder than it has to be. And like I said, go to the top. And then when you get to the inside of the brow, you just want to do short strokes, short. And you're very light-handed with it. Make sure you're being light-handed. Just filling it in. That is literally it for that part. So now that we're at the front, I'm gonna be even lighter with my line that I'm doing at the bottom. I'm gonna brush that out a little bit just to blend it out. And then I'm gonna do small lines, just flick upward. And this is gonna mimic what the natural brow looks like. So you wanna mimic that, and this is how you get that natural brow look and brows that do not look boxy. So if you see anybody whose eyebrows look boxy, it's most likely because they did not do those upward strokes in the front. They literally just shaded the whole entire thing the same way. And also, it could be because they did a very harsh line at the top. So you notice when I got to the front of my brow, I just did a line on the bottom. I never made a line at the very top. I did the strokes going upward, and I left the top like it was. So, I don't know if y'all can see that, but it looks just like my other brow, pretty much. It's just a little darker because I'm literally just filling it in. You are filling in your eyebrows, not creating eyebrows. Now, if you don't have none, we're going to have to do a whole different tutorial on that. Now, we're going to just literally do the same thing to the other eye. I'm not going to talk through this part because it's the same thing. Period. Yeah, I usually don't conceal under my brows, but I'm gonna do it today. Like I said, usually I just fill them in and I just go about my business. But today I'm gonna clean them up just a little bit. I'm gonna use my foundation mixed with a little bit of concealer. Only because I have a concealer that is my skin tone, but I don't have it on me, and that's usually what I would use. So for this, you just want to use a brush just like carved out like this, like brown at the top. And you're literally just following that line that's under your brows. I do not conceal on top of my brows. I don't do that. I only do underneath. I'm gonna drag it down a little bit just so that I can blend out the edge without touching the brow. So I'm gonna use the flat side of my beauty blender. I'm gonna squeeze it a little bit though, just so that it's not so big. And I'm gonna close my eye and blend out the edge. You don't even have to get close to your actual brow. You just wanna blend out the edge. So I'm gonna do the same thing on the other eye. I'm not very precise with that at all. As long as I get close to the brow hairs, that's all that matters. But everything below that, I don't care. I'm just blending it out, whatever. Now that that is done, I'm gonna take a little bit of my all over face powder, the Maybelline Fit Me powder, and just go over that because like I said, whenever you apply liquids, you wanna make sure you're setting it with a powder so that it doesn't move. Now, oh my God. So usually I use the Juvia's Place Warrior 2 palette. It's like a pink shade and a peach one. And I usually like mix those and use them as my blush. But I forgot to bring the palette with me. Luckily, I have a little left over on this brush from I don't know when. I guess the last time I did my makeup. So I'm going to just hope that it comes out. But whatever. So I literally just apply it right on top of that area where the bronzer and the under eye powder overlap. Okay, I see it a little bit. I see it a little bit. I don't know if y'all can maybe see it, but I'm not getting enough. Hold up. This is how we improvise. This is how we improvise. So this is an Anastasia pinkish, nudish liquid lipstick. It's pink. I don't know. So I'm gonna take that same brush. I'll take that same brush and I'm just gonna like tap it on there. But I'm gonna swirl it around on my hand a little bit just to get the excess off. And then I'm gonna go over that area a little bit more. I don't know if y'all can see the difference. I can definitely see it. It's very subtle, but it's there. This is the beauty of makeup products. You can literally use them for whatever you want to use them for. I'm going to take another bronzer that is a little bit darker than the Coco Naughty. To take my same bronzer brush, I'm literally just going to go over the same areas where I bronzed in the beginning, just to make it a little bit darker, a little bit more bronze. Sometimes I do this, sometimes I don't. So that's why I usually just like save it for last. That way I can, you know, do it if I see fit, I guess. Then I'm going to take that Fenty Beauty bronzer again, and I'm just going to put that all over my lid. This is like very subtle, like everything else is. So it's not going to have too much of a color payoff. Do the same thing on the other side. And if you want something a little bit darker, like a little more bronze on your eyes, then you can take that darker bronzer. You can go over this with that. But for the purposes of what I'm about to do after this, I don't really need all that. Okay, next we're going to take mascara. This is the Maybelline Lash Sensational Mascara. Look up. Line the lips. I like my lips to be overdrawn. Anybody who knows me knows that I want lip fillers real bad. But until then, girl, we're just going to be overlining these lips. Hold up. Girl, I don't even know what this is. This is some random little brown liner that I got from the beauty supply store. So basically, like when I do this part, I stay within like where my real lip line is. And then when I get to the Cupid's bow, I go a little over that. And then when I get to the bottom, literally just lining where my lip is. Let's just use this because I have it. So this is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Stripped Liquid Lipstick. Just gonna dab this a little bit in the center of my lips. I don't want a whole lot. Yeah, I knew that was gonna be too light. This is the Fenty Beauty Gloss Bomb and Glass Slipper, which is just the clear one. Just the clear one. And I'm just gonna dab that right in the center. It's definitely giving. Oh, it's giving. And that is pretty much it. It's basic, it's clean, it's simple. It goes with anything. You don't have to worry about matching colors or whatever. It literally goes with everything. I think pretty soon I'm gonna try to venture out and try some new products. That way I can just show y'all some new stuff. But for the most part, this works for me. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, girl. I wish I could show y'all how to apply strip lashes, but I cannot because I don't wear them. Maybe I can show you one day when I need a fill or something. But I'm not about to mess with these lashes to show y'all how to put on those strips. I'm just not. Because really, you shouldn't even be getting strips. You need to get some lash extensions. It's time to grow up. But thank y'all for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. And I'll see y'all later.